From Heart to Hanger is where fashion tales come alive. Dive into the personal stories of people from the fashion world, designers, style lovers, and fashion influencers.
Discover how life experiences shape our style through everyday conversations, explore fashion trends, and embark on a self-discovery journey to find your own style. Be part of a lively community where sharing the love for fashion is the everyday style.
It's your backstage pass to the playful, fashion-filled journey from the heart to the hanger. It's more than just about clothes. It's about the magic of fashion that binds us all. Get ready to be a part of the story where every episode is a runway of ideas and stories waiting to be shared.
Hey fashion lovers, this is week 7 on our podcast. I'm Britt Smith alongside my beautiful co-host Paige Andreas, and this week we are going to be talking about fashion and motherhood, so juggling both those roles. But before we get started, I just want to shed a little light on the fact that if you are a male designer, that you wouldn't probably be getting asked this question.
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
I feel like most people aren't going to go to a male businessman and be like, so bro, like, how is it being a father and running a business together? Like, how do you do it?
It's so true. Hey,
It just sounds silly. And I was watching this little, Instagram video about this girl saying, just when next time somebody asks you about like, oh, are you going to the hockey game, for example, tomorrow night, just say like, oh, like the men's hockey game or the women's, like just throw that at them and like see how
how they respond.
Awkward and it gets, because it's so true. Like even in this day and age, women and men are honestly not equal.
No, we're not there
I think it's safe to say that still, which is very sad. So I just wanted to shed light on that, that I don't think our male designer counterparts would be getting asked that question. But
it is such an important topic.
It is.
Because like we were discussing earlier, it is just as a mom, and don't get me wrong, my husband and I, and I'm sure you and your husband were very like share roles, like we're both very involved. But there's just something, and I think it's just like in your DNA, but as a mother, it's impossible to turn off that part of your brain that thinks about your kids. Mm-hmm. So it's like, no matter what I'm doing, they always come first. Mm-hmm. And like, obviously that's what I want, but sometimes when you have something important for work that you need to get done, like Keegan can easily just like, I can tell he's like lightning focused on work, because it's like he's not hearing anything, he's not seeing what's happening around him, but I'm like, okay, are the water bottles washed for school tomorrow? Are the lunches packed? Do we have diapers in the diaper bag? Oh yeah, shoot, I have a meeting in the morning, I got to do that. Oh, back to the kids. Why, like, what if they wake up tonight? Like, I can't turn that part of my brain off, and I do find that frustrating at times, because it's like it's just such, as a mom and entrepreneur, it's a struggle to find a balance.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, I love, and I'm glad we're talking about it. So I know I said before, I just wanted to shed light on that, but I will talk about my kids anytime you ask.
Totally.
And being a mom is the number one most important job we'll ever have.
Yes.
Creating and raising the best kids ever.
Yes. They're just so cute.
Yeah. So I'm actually really excited to talk about this, because I do think that struggle is so real in, honestly, all moms. Yeah. And dads, I'm sure, get that too. I just know that, for example, when I go to bed at night, Zach is sound asleep minutes in, and I'm still thinking again about what I didn't get done today, what has to get done tomorrow with the kids. Is it like crazy hair day tomorrow at school, or just like all those little darn things that like,
exactly,
it's a lot.
It is like, I just want to be in their brain for a minute and be like, because sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, you make being a parent look so easy. And it's like, is it just because you're like oblivious to all the other things going on? Because like I can easily go away for a weekend and he is like number one dad, doesn't call to like complain. He's got it. Like the kids are fine. Everything's good. Not stressed. But I'm like, is it just because you're not thinking of all these things that I'm thinking of? Like, I just don't.
I don't know. Maybe we should have a psychologist come on or somebody come on the show and sort of tell us more about that. Because I'm also very curious because I know obviously men and women's brains are wired differently.
Yes.
And I mean pros and cons to both for sure. But I do think a lot of those mental, what am I trying to say? Like those mental tasks, like the mental load of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it gets put on the mom.
Oh,
and
100%.
Just talking to other moms and listening to other podcasts about this similar topic, it's just, it's evident.
And I think we worry about more things. Like, I'm always thinking about like
Yeah, for sure.
every little thing. And then it's like, am I doing a good enough job? Like, you're just over analyzing everything. I remember when I just had Gigi and Keegan would come home at the end of the day. And this was prior to starting ARIANNA Andreas. And he'd be like, so how was your day? Like, what did you do? And I'd be like, I literally did nothing. But I have been so busy all day in my brain. Like, my brain is on fire. I'm so stressed out. I don't even know. I accomplished nothing. But, like, my brain is so busy.
Yeah, I know. I feel you on that one. It's like when Zach walks through the door, I'm like, he's like, so what did you do today? Or, like, people ask me sometimes, like, what do you do all day? And I'm just like, what don't I do? Like,
exactly.
I'm always busy, but, like, can I pinpoint one thing to tell you right now? Because my brain is, like, on overload.
Yeah.
Just constantly thinking about the next thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
I feel like we could literally rant about this like for hours.
Yeah. So let's just bridge this gap here with being a mom and being an entrepreneur, specifically with creating your own fashion brand, ARIANNA ANDREAS. So maybe let's begin on this question. Maybe like, how has being a mom influenced your approach to running a fashion business?
It's kind of like a loaded question.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Well, let's just say I am approaching it completely different than if I wasn't a mom, because right away you have to really like manage your time and decide, you know, there's times where being a mom is going to take over, or you have something really important planned and you want, like, my business is like another baby to me. It's like something I've dreamed of, and it can get really disappointing when I really wanted to do that, but it's like your kid is sick, or there's been times where I've wanted to do that, but then it's like, you know what, Keegan, you're going to have to do this because I need to be on this meeting or whatever. I just think it's like you really have to learn to juggle and fit time in where there isn't time to work on your business.
And I think we talked about this in a previous podcast, but time is slipping through our fingers.
It is.
But it's true. Time management, I feel like every second I get that I don't have the kids, it's like, okay, like I got to do this X, Y, and Z because while he's sleeping, because I can't otherwise.
Exactly. And then if you do decide, like, today, the most important thing I need is like a moment to just sit on the couch and do nothing. It's like instant guilt. And it's like, okay, sweet, I relaxed. Now I like am so behind, and like the house is a disaster because like I always use that time to clean during nap time, and
the mom guilt creeps in and is very real.
Yes,
like on a daily basis, right?
It is like,
yeah. What's an example that I can give? Well, just the other day, my older two kids were at daycare, and I had my youngest son, Ollie, at home, just put him down for a nap. He went down, and then like all day I just had this big migraine. So I was like, oh, like I just feel so sick. So I laid down for a little bit, couldn't fall asleep, but I was just like, I felt like such a waste of skin that day because I didn't get anything done. And then I'm just like really? I'm like, I wasted that precious time that I don't have on a regular basis, because my kids don't go to daycare every day either. Right. So it's like that 2.5, 3 hour gap where I could get some me time in to get stuff that I wanted done for myself. And I just didn't have the time to do it. And because I didn't feel good, but
I know,
long rant short, that was not a good feeling. And I just felt like a waste of skin. But then the mom guilt creeps, in with other factors as well.
Exactly.
Like, am I not spending enough time with them, or, which is crazy.
I have never felt so much mom guilt as when I was pregnant with Gemma. And we can kind of talk about this because it like literally relates back to my business and how I had to really dig deep to like motivate and get stuff done. But with both my pregnancies, the first 4 months are like horrible. Like, and don't get me wrong, people have it much harder than I do, but I get this like extreme nausea. So it's like I'm not actually like getting sick, but I like feel like I'm going to the entire day. So it's like the only thing that makes me feel half good is like laying down. And so like with Gigi it was okay because like I was working, and it was kind of like I feel like when you're out at a job, it's a little bit distracting opposed to like being at home parenting. It's like really hard to parent when you don't feel good. Is that not the hardest job when you don't feel good? And so like, and Gigi's favorite game at the time was running. Like all she wanted to do was be chased. And I would just literally just all day long. And I would like fall asleep for like for like a minute and then be like, oh my God. And I just literally felt sick to my stomach about how, like, I was just like, I'm the worst mom ever. Like, I can't do anything. I'm just laying here. And on top of that, I had literally started this business and then 2 weeks later found out I was pregnant. So it was like such a vital time in the business. We were just getting started, and I was expected to be like done up on Zoom meetings and getting the collection together. And like, I would just literally cry all day long. And like, I had like zits everywhere. I had this like huge breakout and I was like crying and zitty and nauseous, and my child wanted to run, and I'm just, all I can do is sleep. And honestly, these are things like as a man, I feel like, because you're not going to be pregnant. Right. It's like, it was a huge part of my first few months of business was like just grinding through, and just like Keegan would just be like, just anything you can do, like the smallest amount, just like a little bit every day. And I'd be like, why is this happening?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, you powered through it, which kudos to you, because I feel like lots of people can't, or, but you found that within you, even if you did just little things every day to grow your business, which is fantastic.
I remember like we actually met with a development company in Calgary, like when we were trying to find, and I was like, the whole time I'm like, don't throw up. And I'm like sweating profusely, and I'm just like, just full on, like I did full on glam, and I'm like trying so hard to not look sick. Aww. And the whole time on the inside, I'm just like, is this over? Can we get out of here right now?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about, maybe like, doesn't even have to be those early on days when you were pregnant, but even now, like having your 2 girls, like finding time to spend with them, and then finding time to work on your business. I know for like me, when, the times when I do get with my kids, I absolutely love, but then there's a part of me pulling me, being like, I feel like I need to do something more. I want to be more than just a mom, even though being a mom is the best.
Oh, totally.
There's just something pulling me to do more for myself. But then once I start doing that, then I get pulled back because I get mom guilt, and I'm like, I want to be there right now for their kids. So how do you?
So right now we have a pretty like, I guess fairly rigid schedule, I guess. And it's good, but it isn't enough time, but it's what all I can get. So I try to be really strategic about it. So Gigi is now in play school Monday to Friday for about 2.5 hours every morning. And luckily we're able to do this at the club that we're at. So they do allow 2 hours a day of childcare. Okay. So in that 2 hours, Gigi's at school and Gemma's in daycare. So I have 2 hours every day to work. So it's just like drop Gigi off, drop Gemma off, go. And then it's like, sometimes it takes me like an hour to get my head in that like creative space. And I'm like into my sketching. I'm listening to a fashion podcast. I'm like, this is the best. I love this so much. And then I look and I'm like, oh my God, I have 5 minutes to get both kids. And then it's like, boom, in the car. And you transition from like being on this like creative high to like mom mode. And I would be lying if I say sometimes it's not super frustrating, because it's like, or I get off this really great call and I'm feeling super motivated and I want to go sketch. And then both kids, when I pick them up, are hungry and they're screaming and they don't want to get in their car seats. And it's like full epic meltdown. And you're just like, sometimes I honestly do envy my husband, because I'm like, you get to like go to work and just focus on work. And it's like, I always have two things like, but like you said, if I do go away for the day, like say on a weekend, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this location, I'm going to work all day. The whole time I'm like texting like, what are you guys doing? I wish I was hanging out with you. What did the kids do? Like, I miss them. Or one time I flew for the fashion show, and I literally, Keegan dropped me at the airport. And within 5 minutes, I text him. I'm like, how are the kids? He's like, I'm not even home yet. And like, what is wrong with you? You've been gone for 5 minutes.
I already have FOMO. What are you guys up to?
I was like, I just miss them. And then when I'm with them all day, I'm like, I just need a break. So,
right? Yeah.
I know.
I know. It's the hard truth of being a mom, I guess. And I'm happy that you also go through that, because I'm not alone then.
Yeah. I think we're all in this together.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, do you have any other stories that you want to share with us that maybe being a mom directly impacted maybe a business decision?
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, one of the ones I found like super hard, like I fought with myself over this for months, but basically I had this opportunity in January of this year, I guess, to go to LA to do our first photo shoot. But I knew that my second daughter was only going to be 4 months old. And at the time I was like exclusively nursing her. She wasn't on solids yet. And so it was like this huge weight on me, because I'm like, how do I leave my 4-month-old for several days on a work trip, but like keep up my supply, have enough milk for her while I'm gone? I wasn't ready to give it up and switch to like formula, which is like, if I'm one of those people, I'm like, you do whatever's good for you. But for myself, I wasn't ready to give that up. And it was just so stressful, because it was like all I could think about was like the guilt of leaving her, and like, what if she wouldn't be okay without me? And then it's like, how am I going to do this? And it's actually quite a funny story. It's such a way to show like how you can make it work. It's not always pretty. So we went home for 2 weeks at Christmas, and I'm pretty sure I spent at least 4 hours a day in the bedroom pumping. Like, it was nurse, pump, nurse, pump. It was like, we were staying at Keegan's parents'. I'd come down. I'd be like, I feel like I've seen you guys for like 5 minutes today, and I've been here all day. So got all that together. And then I went with my friend Allison. She came along. And by the end, it was like the noise of the pump was like our music. We were like doing like eats, like whatever, like always like to the like noise of the pump. I pumped in airports. I pumped in restaurants. I pumped on the plane. I even like the stewardess came by, and like I had like a cup of milk sitting there, and he just kept looking, and he's like, I don't know if I should take that or not. And I was like, I really don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. So then I just literally like walked down the aisle in the plane holding 2 full glasses of milk to the bathroom and just like dumped them down the drain. Yeah. And I was like, well, A, that's like so sad that I'm dumping this out. Yeah. And B, I'm just like, I am officially a dairy cow. And then like we get to our hotel, our room's not ready. So I'm just like pumping at the table at the restaurant. We're at the photo shoot. guess I literally was walking around. I had like a swaddle thing tied around my neck, and I'm like directing the photographer while like these pumps are like sticking this far out of my chest.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like, don't worry guys, like just keep doing your thing. Like it was like half mortifying, half like, who cares? We need to make this work. So that's just like a real life story of how I really had to merge motherhood and...
Yeah, did you ever?
And literally the first night I was like crying. I text Keegan. I'm like, this was a terrible idea. Nothing's going right. Pumping and having to wash my pump in public. And like, it's just like, this is not it. Like, why did I do this?
This is not how I picture my first photo shoot going, probably.
No. And then we left the first day of the shoot and I'm like, this was the best day of my life. It's crazy.
Right.
Like, it's such a roller coaster.
Yeah, the highs
and
lows. Yeah.
So.
And pumping is a full-time job on its own, honestly. So good for you for pumping in every part of your journey there and back.
And it like totally took me out of my comfort zone. I'm not one of those people who's just like, I like privacy when I do that. And it's like noisy and it's like this big apparatus on you. And it's just like.
And it's uncomfortable. Maybe I just didn't have the right one, but like, it's not like, it doesn't feel good.
No. And it's just like, you don't get breaks from it. It's like every 3 hours and it's just like without your baby. Right. Yeah. So like every 3 hours it was just part of the schedule. And Allison was the best. She was just, along for the ride, going with the flow.
She is the best.
She kept me sane a few times when I was about to lose my mind. We even went out one night for drinks. And so it was like 3 a.m. and I was like, okay, well, we need to get some food. So we're like eating McDonald's and here I am with my pump, just 3 a.m. We got our music of the pump, got our committed. McDonald's.
I love it. Do you have a picture of you pumping and
yes.
directing the photographer?
Yes, I think Allison did because she was taking so many behind the scenes. I'm going to have to ask her. I'm pretty sure she did because I remember catching her being like, what are you doing? Yeah.
It's kind of cool though. It's like empowering that even though you're in the thick of motherhood, that you can still pursue your dreams and passion of being outside a mom.
Yeah. And I was actually like so nervous about what like the photographers and the models and stuff would think, but they were like, that's so cool and amazing of you. It's like inspiring that you're like doing this while working. Yeah, so
it is inspiring. I think you should maybe post it.
Post my photo. Yeah. It literally just looks like I have like this huge bib and it's like out. Because I wasn't free in the nipple that day.
No, we already talked about this on all.
Yeah, in the previous podcast.
Okay, so let's reflect on some other moments maybe where your experience as a mom brought unique insights to your business. Like I know you've named some items after your girls and people in your lives, which is super cool, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, how has that sort of changed your view about running a business?
Yeah, it even comes down to the styles, right? Like the way that I would have dressed prior to kids is definitely different now. I still want to, when I'm designing, I still want clothes that look great, but I'm very about like comfort and functionality of them. So like I need to be able to move in them. And I might not have thought about that if I wasn't like a busy mom chasing around kids, right? Like it's different. And I think we talked about standing jeans in one of my, and that was okay before if I couldn't like crouch down in my jeans. But now it's like you spend half your day crouching down and you don't want like your bum hanging out or like, there's just so many things. So I think definitely when it comes to designs, that's had an impact on how I go about that.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
What about like the value of the brand, I guess?
Yeah. I think as like a mom, obviously you always want to instill like confidence in I have 2 girls, you have a daughter. You always want to like really kind of like praise and be body conscious. Is that the word? Like you really want to always put like a positive light on it. So I think, like I said, the whole reason behind my brand is I'm empowering women and making them feel like their best selves. And I obviously want my daughters to see me practicing what I preach. I've always made that like this is kind of like off topic a little bit, but I've always been very aware of how I talk to my daughters. I mean, Gemma's still little, but with Gigi, I like never body shame myself in front of her. Because I feel like there's enough of that out there. And even when she will say stuff about me that like, because they're little and they just say what's on their mind, I always like kind of spin it to be a good thing. So like after I had Gemma, she's like, I just love your big squishy belly. It's like Santa Claus. Aww. I hope it stays like that forever. And I was like, yeah, I love it too. But what I want to say is like, no, that's like, yuck. I hope I don't have this forever. You know what I mean? So I just, I think I just want to see I want them to see their mom like working hard and knowing that if they really want to do something and they set their dreams and goals and they work hard, that they can accomplish whatever they want.
Totally. I love that so much. Like even in my house, we don't even have a scale or anything. Like,
that's amazing.
Right? Because we don't want, I just don't want my kids thinking about that. Right.
I know.
Yeah. They're still so young. They don't even really know what that is. But just growing up, I just don't even want them seeing me like step on a scale and, asking questions or,
It's such a hard thing. And I feel like when I was in like grade 4 to grade 7, I definitely went through that like little kid chub phase or whatever you want to call it. And like certain things that were said to me in those years, like still are with me.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's just, and it's always like in the back of your mind. And so,
I have certain things that people have called me and that, like, they're still in the back of my head, which is nuts. Like, when were we in high school? Like, I don't even know how many years ago that was.
Like, it was, oh my God, was it like 15 years ago?
Probably, yeah.
Oh my God.
Which is crazy, but that stuff sticks with you. You're right.
And it totally does.
Yeah. So I think.
And then it gives you like body dysmorphia and like, and the worst part is like the one that sticks out the most. It was like a guy that I had a huge crush on.
Oh no.
And I'm not going to name names, obviously. But I was like in grade 6. And and he told everyone something like that was mean about me, about my looks. And like literally I was like devastated. And I still remember it.
Like, get lost, buddy. Like,
the best part though is like full circle in like high school. They tried to hit on me and I was like, no.
Yeah. Nice.
Sorry. Sucks to be you.
Oh man. But so going back to your brand and just setting an example for your own daughters, I think just them seeing you as well work. Yeah. And no hard feelings to stay-at-home moms. I am a stay-at-home mom right now. That is the hardest job, I think. But I think 100%. I think it's good for your kids to see you work and pursue something you love, like your passion. I think it just sets like that motivation inside them as well, and like seeing both sets of parents work and then take time with them as well. I don't know. I think that's good for them to see.
I couldn't agree more. Like, I grew up in a household where both my parents worked and they worked hard. And they taught us that, like, if you want, like, things for yourself, you have to work hard. They always, like, instilled, like, a really good work ethic in us. And I definitely, even if we were in a position at a time in our life where they didn't need to work, I feel like I would still make them work, because I think it's, like, it's a good quality to, like, know what it's like, and that things don't just come
easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Exactly. That was always like a statement in our house.
Really?
Growing up. Don't you know money doesn't grow on trees? I wish it did.
Yeah.
What's a money tree then?
Yeah. I mean, I do have a money tree in my house, right?
Oh my God. Keegan and I always joke. We had this like thriving money tree.
Nice.
It was like thriving when we lived in Edmonton. And then we moved to another condo and it like just completely died. And we were like, I hope this isn't a sign of our financial trajectory.
Right? Okay, so let's talk about maybe your support systems that have been crucial in helping you manage both roles as a mom and fashion entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Keegan is an amazing partner that way. Like, he definitely, he encourages me to pursue my passion, and has never been like, no, you should stay home with the kids, or like, you should go to work. And he's always been like, whatever makes you happy, and whatever makes you happy makes me happy. And that I do love. Like, I feel like that's, at the end of the day, it's a partnership, right? And he has his own full-time business that he works super hard at. And then in the evenings, he comes home and helps me with mine after we like teamwork, put the kids to bed. Right. And it's usually like the last thing that I feel like doing. Like, I feel like Keegan could work 24/7, but I'm just like, being at home all day with the kids is so mentally taxing that like, I just want to lay on the couch and watch Netflix. But it's like, no, you need to like work. This is your time to work. And so obviously there's always going to be like sacrifice when you're starting your new business. And I know I'm talking in circles here, but yeah, just like I've had, and I think we talked about this too in a other episode, but my entire family and his family have all been so supportive. But yeah, Keegan has definitely made this the easiest it could be for me. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Keegs once again for.
If you notice the editing on all these videos, that's yours truly, Keegan.
He's doing a great job. He's making us look like professionals.
Yes.
Yeah, because we both live in Calgary now. Calgary. I say it. I feel like I say it.
Is it Calgary or Calgary?
I don't know.
I know I just yelled that because I'm like so passionate. I'm always like, what is it?
I think I say it like the Hick Saskatchewan way, Calgary, and I don't think that's proper.
I do that too.
Do you? Because when you said it earlier, you said Calgary.
Okay, well, I think I'm starting to like morph.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I say it different ways every time, depending who I'm talking to, because I don't know.
Well, when you said that, I was like, oh, I hope I don't have to say Calgary.
Calgary.
Yeah. But yeah, being from Saskatchewan, you're away from both of your parents.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, that's not easy either.
Like, his mom always will joke. She's like, I wish you guys lived closer so that I could just be like, come over for supper tonight. I'm like, I wish that too. Or like my older sister, she'll call my mom up and be like, I'm just going to run and get groceries after work. So like, can you watch the kids a little longer? Like, just little things like that that you don't realize. Like, what a privilege that is.
Right, totally.
To have that extra support. So yeah, like, because we are in the last couple of years newer to the city, we don't really have family here. We don't have a babysitter. I just have like that 2 hours of daycare. So it's really like Keegan and I really have to like be a team, because I mean, at the end of the day, when we both want to be working, it's like, okay, which one of us is going to watch the kids, or who's going to do this? And, or just if you need to get out of the house for a break or whatever. So yeah, we're pretty good at giving each other a little bit of time.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So is there any other lessons that you learned from motherhood that sort of translate into the business world? I know for me, like, becoming a mom has made me more confident. Confident.
Same.
I don't give, I'm not going to swear on this podcast.
Flying.
I don't give a F about what people think of me as much.
Yes.
So I'm curious to know if that has helped you with maybe like the design part of.
Kate, you know what? I'm so happy you said that, because I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, I literally feel a zillion times more confident now that I'm a mom.
I know.
It's like, I'm the same thing. I used to like care so much about, I never cared how people thought of like my outfit and my appearance and stuff like that. But it was like other things. I don't really know how to explain it, but I just was always like worried, like if someone would like me or not, or if I said this or that sort of thing. But even yesterday, when I told you I was handing out the little pamphlets for our trade show, this sounds so ridiculous, but my Gemma was at daycare and Gigi was in school, but I felt like so like awkward walking around handing them out. So I just was like pushing the empty stroller around, and I'm like, instantly they're going to be like, oh, she's a busy mom. Like, look at her go. And it's like, I just instantly was like, got my empty stroller,
right?
do my thing.
I feel so naked when I don't have a kid attached to my hip or something. It's so weird.
Like, but yeah, so yes, I would definitely say like a lot of the things I've had to do as like an entrepreneur that would have like killed me before to have to do. I don't get as worked up or as nervous about it. So it definitely has, I think it's like probably like driven me to keep going is just like knowing that I'm doing this for me and my family. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Like being more direct even, I find, knowing what, maybe it just is coming with age as well.
Yes.
Like we know what we want. So I'm just like trying to relate it back to like designing a fashion line. Like when you're going through all those steps of building a collection, like you are not going to settle for something right? Whereas maybe when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, like these are scary adults and right.
Yes.
I'm a little bit nervous to
like you're not
put myself out there.
Exactly. Like to stand your ground and stand up for what you believe in and like speak up. And I agree. Like I have always been a people pleaser, but now with my kids, I will like lay down in front of a truck to like make sure that they are getting what I think they should get type of thing. Yeah. So I do feel like I have more confidence speaking up in those situations.
Yeah, totally. I love that. And just knowing, I feel like a women's collection or fashion brand designed, just hit the mic. I'm hand talking over here. Designed by
We're just making sure you guys are awake. Are you still listening?
Sorry about your ears. Being designed by a woman, I also think that speaks volumes. Just going back to what the values and vision of your brand, you know, it's elevated elegance, but it's also like everyday wear.
Yep.
That's comfortable, but looks super luxurious.
Yes.
So I just love that you're the woman behind it, and it's not like a man designing clothes for women, right? Yeah.
And that is like, it's funny you say that because I'm trying to remember if I was talking to my mom or Keegan. I think it was my mom, but like the fashion industry is actually like so heavily driven by men.
Weird.
Right?
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, who knows a woman's body the best more than another woman? You know what I mean? I mean, I do think that is where a lot of like the diet culture and all of that came into play, because if, you know, a man's going to design a silhouette for their ideal figure. And I mean, now we're a lot more open to that, you know, body positivity.
It has gotten better.
Exactly. Yeah. But there still is some of that. And if you look at runway shows, it's still there, right? So, yeah, I think it's nice to have a female's perspective and have not only like the name behind the brand, but also be like involved in the day-to-day.
So, I guess, can you share your thoughts a little bit more maybe on the fashion industry? Because I'm curious to know more about it. I know it's like a great big world, right? But maybe once you get into it, it's smaller than maybe you think. I'm not sure. But how have you been received as like a working mom in the fashion industry?
You know what? I've actually been pretty surprised by how, and I do think a lot of this goes back to COVID.
Okay.
I mean, I've had to have calls with like my child on my lap, or like, just a second, Gigi, be quiet, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like people, I mean, if anything, I feel like I more so get like, wow, good for you. Like, I can't believe you're like, where do you find the time to do this with kids? Like it almost seems like people are shocked when I tell them, oh yeah, I have like a 14-month-old and a 4-year-old, and they're just like, okay, whoa, like good for you. So it's actually very well received, I think. And I think it's becoming more common, but in, you know, whatever you want to think, like 10, 20 years ago, it was kind of like you had to choose, like, are you going to be successful in your career or are you going to be a mom? And so, yeah, I think people are definitely opening up to that.
Right.
But, and like you mentioned, the industry, it's big, but it is small.
Okay.
So I feel like, I mean, I'm just trying to like peel the curtains back and like peek into it right now. But just from like some of the mentorship calls and all of that, it's definitely about like who you know, and you need to kind of build those relationships and get in as much as you can, because that's when the doors really open.
Right. Okay, that's so cool. I think you're going to have like 100 more kids because to name your clothing after, because we're on collection 2.
Yes. We were joking about this. I'm like, it's so easy to remember the names for all the items I named after my family and relatives. But when it's just like random names that I picked, I'm like mixing them all up. And I'm like, okay, I got to go back to like the drawing board of friends and family.
Right.
So don't be surprised if something's named after you.
I'm waiting for the next Britt or Brittany.
Exactly.
Is there anything else you want to add? I don't know if there's a story that comes to mind, or just maybe some advice to other moms wanting to pursue their fashion passion, or just anything that they're passionate about business-wise?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's just go for it. There's never going to be a right time. It's like anything in your life. There's never going to be the right time to get married. There's never going to be the right time to have kids. There's never going to be the right time to pursue your dream job. I read this quote the other day and I wish I would have wrote it down, but it was something like, it was something about it's better to just like get started and learn as you go than wait for the perfect time, because like that time's never going to come. So it's just, and of course I butchered the quote, but if I had it was really resonated with me. But yeah, I think if you have something that you're passionate about or something you've always wanted to do, just do it. You're not going to regret trying. Right. But you will regret not trying. Yeah. So that's kind of my word of advice. You might fail. I might fail. I don't know. But at least I can say I can at least say that I gave everything I had. I put everything into it and I gave it my all. Yeah. So
I love that. Thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing all of that with us. I love talking about our families. Yes. And I just think you have a beautiful family. And so your girls. Oh, thank you. The girls are so lucky to have you as a mom. You're an inspiration. And I think just, again, going back to being a mom and showing them what hard work and dedication and pursuing what you love can do. I mean, that's a gift in itself. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that wraps up our episode. If we want to just go over what I'm wearing.
Yeah, we should. Okay. So you are wearing and now I got to get my brain back because we're talking about family names again. You're wearing the Tully cashmere sweater.
Who's that one after?
So that's, so my older sister, she has 2 girls, Tenley and Tully.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So the Tully cashmere sweater, originally I designed it in 3 colorways. As of right now, we're kind of on hold with this one, but we will be creating it in multiple colorways. So cool. Stay tuned. It has this beautiful sweetheart neckline and rib detailing through the bust and a little bit of a bell sleeve. So it's just like such a cozy sweater. I feel like you can dress it up, dress it down. It's one of my favorite in the collection for sure. And then I'm wearing the Kate ribbed. It's slightly cropped. It has this really cute, slightly, I can't find my words right now.
And I'm like the worst person.
Delicate ruffle detail.
Yes, there you go. That's what I was
But it's just very, like, if you're not a girly girl, that's fine because it's just very simple. It's not over the top. It's like a little extra touch, and it's on the collar as well. So it's a great like underpinning piece. Like I mentioned, I think last time, you can wear it under dresses. You could wear it under blazers, under cardigans, on its own. Like, it's just such a good staple, and it also comes in multiple colorways.
And it's not too cropped, because when I think crop, I think of
Sorry, it's not as long as like a traditional top, but it's by no means your tummy's not sticking out or anything like that. Right. So you have enough that you can tuck a little bit.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you have it slightly tucked into your jeans right now, and it looks super cute.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So
I really enjoyed this episode. I love getting vulnerable. If you're someone who knows me personally, sometimes I'm an oversharer. My mom used to always say to me, like, Paige, like, you don't need to tell everyone everything. Maybe just like keep a little bit to yourself.
You wear your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah, I love getting to know other people, and I feel like the best way to do that is sharing about yourself. So
For sure. Yeah. I love this topic too. Maybe we'll talk more about it, even though I'm like the feminist in me is like, a male designer would never get asked this question. But I do love talking about being a mom and our families. So maybe we'll do more about the episode as the line continues and evolves.
And I think we forgot to mention in the last one, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them below on YouTube. And then as well, if you have any topics or like questions you want answered, send us a DM on Instagram, comment on any of our stuff, and we'll definitely try to incorporate that into future episodes.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Well, next week we'll be talking about or going through the emotional journey of a fashion entrepreneur. So can't wait for that.
Yeah.